Hello, everyone. Welcome to Achieving Success with Olivia Akin. I'm your host, Olivia Akin. Each week, we will discuss the roadmap of achieving your personal and professional success. We will give you real life stories on growing personally and professionally to achieve your life and career goals with the help of some top notch guests. Today, we are speaking with Ivan Luna. Ivan works at the Tom James Company as a regional sales manager, a professional stylist, and clothing designer. You can find Ivan by searching him on LinkedIn at Ivan Luna. Hello, Ivan. It's fantastic having you on the show today.
Hi, Olivia. I'm excited to be here.
I'm super excited. This is a long time in the making, and I'm
Yeah.
ex- I'm excited for our chat. So, to start off the show, can you tell me what success means and looks like to Ivan Luna?
Sure. Success to me really all it means is that I'm achieving different goals in different areas of my life. I feel like I have four really strong cornerstones, which is my faith, my family, my work, and my health.
I want to dive into kind of what started everything for you and go into what made you come down this path. So, Ivan, you came into the United States on a student visa from Mexico. What was
Mhm.
that experience like being on a student visa, being on in a new country and that journey to building your home and your legacy and deciding to stay in America?
It's actually a really fun story. And now looking back, because I've been here for 17 years, so looking back, I realized that really since I was a little kid, it's all being about me getting out of like my comfort zone. Because when I first moved to the US, like I moved to Kingsville, Texas. So I don't know if you've ever been to Kingsville, Texas, but it's way different than a New York or Chicago. You know, it's a small town in the middle of Texas. I mean, I love that place. I went to a boarding school, and just coming from Mexico, like Mexico City, which is a you know top three biggest city in the world, it was just something that was completely different to me. Like not seeing buildings and or skyscrapers and only one Starbucks for the whole town. That was definitely quite an experience. And also on the other hand, like something that I didn't like back then, it's something that I'm really attracted to now, which is that small town feel. I love San Antonio because it's like it's a big city, but you can still feel like you know everyone, and you can you can go grocery shopping and you'll run into a couple of friends. Like I love that part of that. Back home, like it's such a big place that unless you actually put it in the calendar, like you will never run into your friends or family.
I d- I know, and that I think is a big thing is sometimes you don't know what is on the other side until you try it, right? So,
Yeah.
you grew up, like you said, in a very big city and you kind of you didn't know who you were looking for, who you were going to run into, if you were ever going to run into someone.
Yeah.
And in a small town, it's a pretty normal thing to go out and see one of your friends just so happened to be situation. What was it like going to college and then when you were in college deciding to stay?
Mm. So in college, I feel like that's when I really had like an actual taste of what it is to live in the US. Because I came from high school. It was a boarding school, right? So like I lived on campus. Like it was pretty much like just be with your friends 24/7. But college, that actually it was really cool that I got to meet people from all over the US, not just Texas, which that was like an amazing experience for me. And really all it did is like it opened up my eyes to like different cultures, different languages, different just like whole different experiences that I feel like that's what they made me grow as a person and take me where I am today. And the reason why I think I decided to stay here, it's like I feel like just living that in college, like I realized that here in the US, it's such a blessing that it doesn't matter where you come from or what background you have or whatever. Like if you just put your head down and you get to work, like really like anybody can make it.
And I think that's important to think about is the aspect of no matter where you come from or who you are, you have to put your head down and work, you know?
Hmm.
And if you do it and you're dedicated and you continue to hone those skills, then you can achieve anything you want and anyone could be successful. And that's part of the beauty of it.
100%. Yeah.
Ivan, you help individuals look and feel their best every day on a daily basis. What made you decide to get into the fashion industry to begin with?
Well, funny story. Back when I was in college, we go back to my college days. I had a job where I was making $300 every 2 weeks, right? And I remember like one day walking into Nordstrom because I really wanted to get some type of like jeans that they were really popular back then, and they were right about $300 for a pair of jeans. So I remember spending my whole check just buying one pair of like, just like denim, right? And just that feeling that I had, just knowing that they look great, and they were like, I just love that feeling. It was very like, holy cow, like this is awesome. So that's really when I got a little taste into like the whole like clothing industry. But really, I feel like what really pushed me to make the leap and start pursuing this career is that, so I did like sales internships when I was in college, and I knew that I was gonna be in sales no matter what. I wasn't sure if it was gonna be like insurance or I had no idea what it was gonna be. And then when this opportunity came along, I'm like, this is so cool. Like I get to be in sales. I get to do something that I really, really enjoy, which is like clothing and outfits, fabrics, all that kind of stuff. And especially the last one, I think is like I get to meet some really cool people. You know,
Mhm.
so that's what I think like really draw me to like this career.
And you've been in this career for many years and you've had your growth within the organization. What is it like? Kind of what you touched upon. You've been able to work with a lot of interesting, cool people and build those relationships. What is it like for you, going on a day-to-day appointment and meeting different people with different backgrounds and networking and building those relationships?
I mean, that's what I like the most about my job, to be honest. It's like every day is a completely different day. It's like I can go to an appointment in the morning with a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Then at noon, I have an appointment with a professional athlete, like worldwide known athlete. And then at 3 o'clock, I'm measuring a guy for a suit for his prom. And then I have another appointment in the afternoon with a construction worker that he wants to play. It's like literally, it's like I get to hear all these different stories, like just meet all these amazing people, and to me, that's something that I don't take for granted. Like that's literally what pushes me to do really well, because that's the way I look at my job. Is like, all right, let's go meet some new friends. So so it's like that. I love that. I just really really like just meeting people.
And how do you connect with them when you don't necessarily have, you know, the network, or I don't want to say network, but the same background, right? Like you said, you might be working with a professional athlete and then go and work with a doctor or some other people.
Yeah.
So how do you build that trust and relationship with your clientele to have them trust you in picking out the fabrics and picking out what they want to give them the vision they want?
At first, I really feel like, right now you're right. Like I've been doing this for 10 years. So it's like I have the experience, I'll say, or the knowledge. But I remember back in the day, like, man, I was just trying to become a master of my craft. You'll see me like reading fashion articles, magazines, GQ, Esquire, like, all these different types of like, just really, I just wanted to have that confidence that whatever I was saying, like, I was really the expert. So at first I say that's what really helped me out, like catapult my business, that it was like I was really taking it seriously and like just making sure that I was a master of my craft, and just like really learning those skills that probably I didn't learn in college, or it's stuff that you have to develop. But I feel like the more you do it, the better you get, and that's how you start growing. And then with the other one, like I'm just very transparent and honest with people. I don't like the whole, I know that sales, for some reason, it's like people relate it to like, oh, this league salesman, and like all that kind of stuff. And to me, actually, I think if you're a really good salesperson, it's like you're a really good listener. So really the way I look at it, it's like I feel like the reason why they trust me is because I'm not trying to like just tell them what I want them to get. Like I just listen to them and I just help them figure it out.
And I
It's
think,
like
yeah, and I think listening is so important. No matter who you are, or who you're with, or if it's in your personal or professional life, a listening skill can really elevate you, but also elevate a relationship you have, whether it's business, personal, significant other, children. It makes other people also feel valued and heard, and
Hmm.
their opinions matter. When you go to meet a client, for someone who might be interested in going into this industry or just fashion in
Yeah.
general, what is it like designing clothes and styling different people? Like, what is that process like?
That's the part that's what you the creative part, right? It's like, and we go back to like actually learning the skills. Like I go to like, I go to different seminars twice a year where I learn about trends, about fabrics, about different styles for different body shapes, like all that kind of stuff. Like I still do that even 10 years in, like every like twice a year I go to this seminar to like learn, right? But I feel like the cool part about it's like just the way I look at it is like when I show stuff to people, it's like I for the most part, I want to say for the most part, like I'm gonna show them stuff that I would wear, stuff that I would be really excited to wear, or stuff that I think literally this is one of the things I tell every new client. It's like my job is to make sure that they get tons of compliments, so that way they want to come back and see me again. It's like that's the best way for me to like get new business or build those relationships.
And what does a regular appointment from start to finish in the process look like?
Sure. So, from start, like most of the time, I get like I don't do any billboards or marketing or anything like that. I barely started like doing Instagram now. Like my Instagram is growing, so I'm getting there. But it's like really referrals. Like eh, I have over 700 clients, and every single one of them, it's been like referred by somebody.
Hmm.
So that's what I was saying. Like it's key that you build those relationships, because then your clients are going to want to refer you to their friends or their family members or coworkers and stuff like that. So all I do is like I just give them a call the first time, and it's like, hey, I know that Olivia or whoever referred me to them, and I tell them what I do. Like I'm in the clothing business. I make custom suits, shirts, pants, sport coats, things like that. And I just ask them if the next time I'm around their office, if I could swing by, show them what I do. Once I see him, I just explain them a little bit about the process, which is like I'm about to show you fabric, depending on what you need. I'm gonna take about 37 different measurements just to make one coat. It takes me about 8 weeks to make a garment. Once I make the garment, I deliver it myself. So then we make sure that the garment fits the way my client likes it. Then from there, that's when I tell them it becomes really fun, because if they ever need a shirt or suits or pants or whatever they need, they can just even text me. So I make it really, really easy for them. So when I walk into the appointment, that's exactly what I was saying. Like my job is to make sure that I ask a ton of questions, because it's like not everyone is in the same situation. Some guys may wear a suit once a year. Some guys wear a suit every single day. Some guys wear a suit once a month. Like, that's my job, just to see like really what's going to be best for them, and just give them some really good advice, and what type of fabric, what type of style, fits them better.
And
Mhm.
I want to flip that a little bit. So you have the relationships you're building with your clients, but you have to also build relationships with your suppliers, those places you get your fabrics from, the in people other people in the industry. How do you stay on top of, making sure if your client picks something out that you're able to get it, and the timeline, and just managing that whole aspect of it as well?
Yeah. See, the cool thing about this and Tom James is that we actually own our own manufacturing facilities. So we have 10 manufacturing facilities, 5 woolen mills. So we pretty much are our own supplier. So it's vertically integrated. So pretty much everything that I show, I know that I'm going to have it, and I'm going to know my lead time and all that kind of stuff, which on the back end, like that is amazing for us, because, I don't want to say I've never done it, but, it's like very rare that I call a client and be like, oh, sorry, I don't have that fabric anymore,
Hmm.
which like a lot of in my industry, that's very, very common, that you have your different people that you're getting fabrics from. And then sometimes like, oh, sorry, we don't have it. And then those phone calls are never fun. So,
Yeah, and I
Mhm,
think there's two great aspects of that from a supply chain side, and I have a lot of experience on the supply chain side of things, and I'm
mhm,
currently the president of the Connecticut State ASEM, which is the Association for Supply Chain Management chapter. And then I sit on the international ASCM board as a committee member. And, supply chain, especially since COVID, has always been a hot topic of, there's a supply and demand and people never truly realized it. But having a system in place, especially in fashion, when you can be
Mhm.
getting materials, or any industry, when you can be getting materials from anywhere in the world, having a vertically integrated system and having those systems in place to just be able to be like, okay, yes, we can do this. This is the timeline. And know your scheduling system as well is key.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. Like, that I think that's something that I know, it gives me a lot of confidence when I walk into like these meetings, right? Because
Mhm.
it's like I know that whatever, like one of my things, like I don't want to over promise or under deliver. So so that's key for me. Like there are some times that I've had to say no to like a suit that they needed in 3 weeks. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like I can really try, but if I don't make it, like I know you're not. It's like I'd rather
Yeah.
those little things that I know for a fact that I don't want to just say yes, just say yes to everything. You know what I mean? Like
And
that definitely helps me with that.
there's definitely a power to, like you said, not saying yes to everything. And
Yeah.
how do you kind of, when, like you said, hey, a suit can't be delivered in 3 weeks and you need it. Yes, I can try, but it's most likely not going to happen. How do you handle those reactions? Because, as you said, it happens rarely, but when it does, it can get a little confrontational or upsetting on the client's part. So, how do you handle that?
When that happens, like if it's a suit that they just want not for a specific event, but they just want it quick and stuff, like I'm like, we can try, let's see what I can do, right? But if it's a wedding or if it's like something that it's really, really important, like number one, I don't want to put the client in that situation where like 2 days before his wedding, it's like, oh, sorry, you have to look for a suit, you know? And also it's like, I mean, I just want to make sure that I provide a good service for my clients. Because even if I were to try and it's like it's not a smooth process, most likely that person is not gonna come back with me. It's not gonna like that. That's what sometimes it's really hard because a lot of people think like, oh, go the extra mile, and But then what you don't realize is like, yeah, you're going the extra mile, but your client has no idea that you're going the extra mile. They think that's the way it is.
Hmm.
So it's like a lot of the times like and I'm very straightforward. It's like, man, I would love to make this for you because I know you're gonna love it and it's gonna look great, blah blah blah. But I don't want to shoot myself in the foot. Like, sorry, I don't think I'm able to make it happen.
And I think it's important, like you said, to be very transparent, because sometimes people don't realize you're going the extra mile. Sometimes you have to, right? And
Hmm.
definitely having your manufacturing system set up where it's internal gives you the ability to sometimes, when like that wedding's happening and something happened and now you need a suit in 3 weeks, it's easier to say, okay, on the scheduling side, how can we kind of make this happen? But again, nothing, when you're building a service or delivering a product, you can't always be doing that, because then you get backups and everything else, and that
Yeah.
quality, a big part of quality and quality systems that are set up is the customer service end, making sure that client's happy, they understand what's going on, because a lot of it too is sometimes like you said, the client just doesn't know, so they don't
Mhm.
realize what's going on behind the scenes for that to either work or not work. So being transparent always helps alleviate some of that frustration, or that, like, hey, why can't this happen?
Yeah, no, 100%. And you're right. Like, you want to do what the way I look at it is like you want to do what's right for your client. At the end of the day, that's the way I think the business world should be. It's like if he's gonna really benefit from my service, like I think we're gonna build a long term relationship. But I'm not about just like, oh, let's get the sale and then never see you again,
Right.
because
And
that's like way more work.
yeah, it really can be.
Yeah.
I want to talk about making people feel comfortable in what they're wearing. We've had many discussions about
Yeah.
this and in-depth conversations. But for you, what is the importance for someone to feel and look their best? And how can someone do that on a regular basis?
See, this is something that, it took me a few years to actually like get, like, I want to say like develop, right? But I feel like feeling your best comes from like, there's like a lot of ways that you can feel your best, right? But really the key, and this is something that, same thing, like I talk to clients about, it's like you have to be comfortable in your own skin. The fact that you see an Italian model and it's like he probably weighs like 150 pounds and the suit looks amazing and you want to suit just like that. It's like, if you don't have that body frame, like no matter if you get the exact same suit, it's not going to look like that, right? So you want to make sure that you're always like feeling good in your own skin. And also it goes to like whatever you're telling yourself, like this is, and I think that's really, really important. Like I talked a lot about like, I think everyone probably, they've heard the term like you want to dress for the job you want, not the job you have. It's like little things like that that really it's what we call self talk. Is whatever you're telling yourself all day long.
Mhm.
That's what makes you feel good. Now the looking good part, that's when I can really, really help. Because that's like the part that if you just do little tweaks here and there, like man, you can make like a suit like if you just like have a suit that fits you well, that the fabric is gonna perform, that that the colors are gonna match. You're wearing like a really like nice outfit. You get compliments everywhere you go. That is it's kind of like a snowball effect, right? Because you start getting compliments, and then you start thinking different about yourself, and then that makes you feel different about yourself. And it's like, oh, I don't have to be that Italian model. Like, still look great in my suits, even So
And
mhm.
I think that's the important part too that you brought up was fit having your clothes fit you, like you should be fitting your clothes, not your clothes fitting you, meaning in the aspect of, you don't, whatever size you are, you can be looking great in clothes. You just need to know what, you know, fits your body shape, what colors fit you,
Mhm.
and everything in between. And then no matter what you put on, I shouldn't say no matter what you put on,
Yeah.
but if you go out and you feel confident because now you feel like it's really showing your body figure, your, you know, everything in between, your style, just everything, it transcends into everything you do.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's part of like if you can get some, that's why I come in, right? Because that's literally like I'm that voice in the back of your head that it's like, yeah, you shouldn't do that. Let's do this one instead. It's like that's literally what I do. Like I tell people, my job is not to change the way you dress, just make you look better.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna come in here like guns blazing, wanting you to wear pink pants and a blue blazer. You know, but it's like, all right, whatever you're wearing, let's make sure that we make you look your best.
Hmm.
You know.
And I think it's finding that comfort zone for anyone in anything they're wearing is to feel like comfortable in it as well. You don't want to, I've joked before, you don't want to buy $1,000, dress or suit jacket to wear it, but then the whole time you're wearing it, you're like, this isn't great. Like, I don't feel free in it. I don't feel like I can move in it. Just so you can spend the money and say, I have an expensive item in my wardrobe.
Yeah, and that's also one of the other things that it's a lot of people don't realize that when they see it on magazines or like TV ads and stuff. I'm like, these guys are wearing them just for pictures. They're not gonna be wearing this all day long. They're not gonna be getting in and out of their cars. Like, it's like, and especially with the trends when they're like, I don't know, like very slim and trim and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, I can make you something like that. It's no big deal for me, but just so you know, you may not be that comfortable.
Hmm.
So you have to pick like fashion over comfort. Like, you want to be comfortable, you want to look super fashionable.
And what are some tips that, someone could do every day to add those little things to feel confident in their wardrobe?
I'll say like something that is gonna be key. Whenever in doubt, don't wear it.
Hmm.
If you just like remember that phrase, like whenever you are not sure, like I think it looks good, not too sure, don't do it. Because 9 out of 10, like that probably doesn't look good. So that'll be the first tip. The second one, don't overcomplicate things. It's like you don't have to like be the trendsetter and like a fashion statement every single day. Like if that's what you want, amazing. But 90% of the people they want to do is like make sure that, and especially I work with I have a lot of male clients. Guys, they don't put that much thought into their outfits, but they just want to make sure they're not messing it up. You know, so it's like just keep things simple. Like just don't overthink it.
Mhm. And I think that's important no matter what you do, especially in fashion, but no matter what it is don't overthink it. When you sometimes overthink things, it ends up not working out in your favor.
100%.
What has it been like for you, you know, seeing fashion change, especially once COVID hit
Hmm.
within yourself, working from home, seeing the fashion trends change because not as many people are going out, and then it kind of starting to change back. What has that journey been like for you and throughout your whole career? How do you stay, always dressing your best?
I think I had a huge lesson during COVID because it's something that I've always heard. I've even talked about it, but it's like I really got to experience what it means to like dressing up makes you feel more confident. Like you suit up, all that kind of stuff. Because it's like back during COVID, we were all zooming, right? Like it was Zoom everywhere. So it was like I I mean I admit it. Like I fell into the trap of like, oh, let me just wear a shirt and a tie and then just shorts, bottoms and flip flops or whatever. And what I realized after a couple of weeks of doing that, it's like I wasn't performing like the way I usually do. Because it was like just I wasn't feeling the same about myself. And nothing changed. It's not like my skills or ability or, you know, nothing really changed. Just like the way I started like perceiving myself, it wasn't the same. So the biggest thing that I realized it's like when you really feel good about the way you look in the mirror, you're gonna start like thinking better about yourself. You're gonna start your self confidence is gonna go through the roof, and by consequence, you're gonna start performing better. So COVID, I think that's what taught me that I really want to make sure that whatever I'm wearing, like I'm always like proud of the way I look, right? You can never be it's always better to be overdressed than underdressed, right?
Hmm.
But then the second one that I noticed, and it's funny because now it's changing a little bit, but I'll tell you something I noticed. Like, yeah, of course, like people are not they stop wearing suits as much, right? So they were more into like the casual wear. But fun fact, since COVID, the past like I want to say like 6 months, I've never made as many suits as in the past like 5 years combined.
Really?
Yes, the reason why I don't want to say like just suits quantity wise, but
Hmm.
quality wise. So quantity, yeah, sure, like people are not dressing that many suits, but now the clients that I see, they don't want instead of getting 4 suits, they want that really nice suit that they can wear to their important events. Because what starts happening is like since people are not wearing suits that often, whenever they wear it, they want to make sure it's a really nice suit. So that is something to start changing that, we'd never predicted any of that to happen, but it's been really crazy to see how like people instead of wanting more like
Hmm.
quantity clothes, like they just want that quality piece that they can wear whenever they actually dress up.
And I think that's important is having your staple, your staple piece,
Hmm.
that one thing that sometimes, especially if you're in an environment where you're mainly in Zoom, but you have those events. We all are going to have those events, whether it's a wedding or you have seminars to go to because of work or different work trips or whatever. Having those staple pieces where you're comfortable, a lot of the time it's not necessarily the same people seeing you over again at everything. So having that really good quality allows you then to wear it over time instead of just a short period. Prior to COVID, a s- I'd read a study that on average people wear that they buy a piece of clothing 7 times and then they'll never wear it again. And I think
Hmm.
part of what it, especially in what you're experiencing, is people are starting to change the mindset. You have sustainability and what, throwing out your clothes after like never buying them does to the environment, but also the longevity and the investment you're putting in. But especially with high quality products like a custom suit, like those jackets, you want to be able to wear them. You're investing money into it, but you're also investing yourself into it so you can feel good, you can feel confident, you can go into the room and perform at your best.
Yep. And that's how it is. Like, there's also like once you start doing like the whole custom clothing game, like there's so many different things that I can do for clients, like especially when they take pretty much what you said, like I want that staple suit that it's probably going to be my wedding suit or my funeral suit or whatever. It's like, I mean, I can tell you I have over 125 different shades of navy. So it's like have like texture patterns, like all this kind of stuff. Like I'm like, let's just, I can always advise them with like, let's do some texture so that way when you change the shirt and the tie, it's gonna look like a completely different suit.
Hmm.
So there's all these different stuff that we can do to make sure that whatever you get, it's something that you're gonna last. It's gonna last for a while, and also, I call it like you don't look like a creature of habit. It's like every time you see your big client, it's the same khaki pants, navy blazer type of thing.
And I think that's important in the aspect of, you know, the comfortability again that you were bringing up. You have to feel comfortable in what you're wearing as well. For you, what has been the biggest pivot in your career and working in fashion that you've kind of overcome, and how did you overcome it?
Hmm. So in my career, that's a great. I feel like we go back, and again, my market is in San Antonio, right? So different cities, different styles. But I feel like at first, like I was getting too caught up into like, oh, I want to make San Antonio the next fashion capital of the world. It's like, we're gonna be the next New York, which in reality, like, I don't know if that's ever gonna happen, but I really changed that like mentality into like, no, like I don't pretty much what I told you at the beginning, like I'm not here to change the way my clients dress. I'm just here to really just make sure that whatever they're doing, I make it easier for them. Whether it is like saving them time doing their shopping or making sure that clothes fit them the way they like them, or actually I have some clients that they just love clothes and shopping too. So making sure that whatever they get, it's stuff that they will never ever find off the rack.
Hmm.
Or simply I have clients that they just hate shopping. It's like,
Hmm.
dude, I don't even want to think about this. Like, I'm a doctor, like I have 1,000 other things to think about. Like I don't want to think about what shirt I'm gonna wear the next day. It's like I just
Yeah.
make it super easy for my clients. So
And
that's really kind of what changed for me.
I think that's an interesting aspect of what you brought up right there is what people are looking for, why they might go to a custom piece in someone like yourself to get pieces might there's a lot of different reasons. Never assume the reason is, just because they have the money they can. And like you said, you have clients that range in jobs and roles and income pricing and what they're looking for. But it can be as simple as, you want those few pieces where good quality, they're gonna last. I know, a reliable person who knows the industry, put them together and I can just look, take it off the hanger and go. I don't have to think about it. And you have people who hate shopping. You don't want to go in. You don't want to feel like you have to buy something when you go in to a certain store, or know what to pick out. You need that extra, not necessarily help, but easiness to make your life feel less pressure, and that time saving capability to it.
Yeah, and actually, that's funny. Now that you said that, that's probably the biggest thing that I realized after COVID. A lot of people they were scared of actually going to the mall, with the
Mhm.
lines and the people and trying on clothes and all that kind of stuff. Like, I realized that that was the service that I provide because I come to them. Like, I go to their house or their office. I mean, I have an office too, but for the most part, like, I come to my clients' houses, offices. So that was probably the service that I think really, really like clients appreciated. That before it was just like, oh, that's cool, he comes to me. But since COVID, that was a huge like aspect for a lot of people, especially the new clients that I started getting since COVID. So that was a really really interesting like pattern they started noticing after COVID.
I mean, I want to end on this question
Mhm.
for you. When you went into the fashion industry and being a male in the fashion industry, what was that like for you in the sense of growing and being in the industry that is male dominated, but a lot of people don't necessarily think about that? while they're shopping or asking for help or stuff like that?
Okay, so what was it that for me, like being it's actually I think it was easier because we go back to the same thing. Like a lot of the times when I walk into the room, like I have clients that are like, man, that's an awesome suit. I want that. I'm like, all right, let's do that. Let's
You're
do
like,
it.
I can
Sure.
make it happen. That's
Yeah,
real
I'm like,
simple.
I have a guy, so that part I think that was really cool. Like, like a lot of the times, like I get clothes for myself, not because I necessarily absolutely love them, but just because I want people to see them on me.
Mhm.
Which is a huge part about like social media right now for me. That on Instagram I started posting a bunch of pictures of not actual models because I'm not a model by any means or anything like that. So it's like that's another thing. Like I used to really dislike taking pictures, but now with social media, like I'm doing it because I know that's a service that I'm doing for clients. It's like purple stripe, blue suit. There you go. Average Joe right here. You can still look good on your clothes.
And that's one of the things I've personally loved watching you when you do post. I'm like, damn, that's sharp. Okay. Wouldn't have thought about that. Or you've taken pictures of the inside of your jacket and some of the cool designs or what clients are asking for, where it looks simple on the outside, but then when they open their jacket, it's like this cool intricate thing or picture and all this stuff, which has been really fun to watch and see different style intakes that you've done, different things you've done, because then even if you're not getting a suit and for example you're a woman, you could kind of see how the colors come together and
Mhm.
you could I've definitely looked at that and go, okay, I didn't think that was necessarily going to work color wise, but now I kind of want to find something that I can have that are in those colors.
Yeah, no, and and that's been the part that I just take advantage of it because it's like I just try to like just just show it to my clients, like give them that vision of like, yeah, you can pull it off, like it's not it's not
I
out
mean,
there.
yeah, I mean, how can people get in touch with you if they want to connect?
So LinkedIn for sure, Ivan Luna. Social media, Instagram, I'm just trying to grow that right now. So it's at San Antonio underscore Clothier, Clothier.
Awesome. Thank you, Ivan, for all of your insight today.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me.
It was wonderful having you on. And a few of our key takeaways from today's conversation is look at your connections as building friendships. Like Ivan said in the beginning, when you build your network and you look at them as a potential friend and you invest that time and learn about who they are, it can end in great relationships and not just in the short term, but the long term. And not just maybe professionally, but personally as well, because you really get to know each other as well as a great salesperson listens. Listening is key in anything you do. So taking the step back and taking that extra time to really hear what someone is saying and hear their meaning behind it, why they might be thinking it, can really help you provide a service or just be able to maybe direct a conversation in a certain way based on what you're hearing in tone, in body language, and everything across the board, whether that is in a friendship or in a business relationship. Listening can make or break some things sometimes, as well as be confident in your own skin. Being confident in your own skin allows you to really go out there and feel your best and perform at your best and really hit your goals you're trying to achieve. And one of my favorites that Ivan said today was whenever in doubt, just don't wear it. Don't sometimes simple is good. Sometimes when you overthink something, you can end up working in the wrong direction. So just when in doubt, just don't do it. This was a great episode with our top notch guest, Ivan Luna. Thank you for listening and have a successful day.